Am I correct in assuming you can see this morning's email?
Yes.
Okay. All right, then. Let's start day 47 of the AWD1115 Database-Driven Website Development 2 class. Today and tomorrow, we're going to be going over Sports Pro and try to get everybody up to speed through Chapter 12. All right. I'm not going to require that people do the one for 13. I'm sorry, there isn't one for 13. I'm not going to require that people do the one for 14, which is on testing. I'm reading through the testing thing right now, and I'm not sure if we're going to go over that or not. We will, before the end of the semester, go over chapters 15, 16, and 17. 15 is on tag helpers. 16 is on authorization and authentication. And 17 is on how to port your project out to the web, basically using Microsoft Azure. So we will go over all of those. All right. Your work through chapter 12 on the Sports Pro is due by the beginning of class today. All right. I've gone through and I've done 12.1 and I'm working on 12.2 now. So we'll go through 12.1 today, and then whatever we're time it is after that, we'll finish up, and then we'll do 12.2 tomorrow. Friday will be a lab. I've made a lot of progress now on the class project, and we're going to start on that on Monday. All right. Also, I may or may not have mentioned this the other day, but just so everybody knows, not this Friday, but next Friday, the 10th, Rankin is closed. You are off that day because Rankin basically closes, makes it a school holiday for Veterans Day observance. All right, just so everybody's aware of that. So with that, where I left off last time on mine on the discussion on here was chapter 4. There was nothing for chapter 5, which was, I think, a debugging chapter. And in chapter 6, the first thing you were asked to do was to create this. And I think I had done that already. So in other words, looking at the project, I'd already created this about thing. It doesn't look exactly like the one in the book. I could change the size of my font or whatever to make it look just like it. But if I run it right now, and I don't think I did the pull right on here either, so that should be over here, but it's no biggie. Okay, so I've got all that stuff in there. So that was part of what we were asked to do, for chapter 12. Try that again, for chapter 6. And the other thing that we were asked to do was, so we added the about page and then use attribute routing to shorten some of the URLs for the app like this. Well, let's go to those right away. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the home controller. And under the home controller, I'm going to go down to the about page here. And we're just going to put in here a route action. Oops. Like that. Okay, I don't know how I got that, but I did. All right. And of course, we need that one. There we go. All right, so that basically is going to allow us, what doesn't it like here? It's because the double quotes have to go on the outside of this. Finally, after all that. All right, so basically that's going to recognize our route, our about route, for lack of better words. The other changes that we're going to make are to the other controllers. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 other controllers right now, those being the customer, incident, product, and technician controllers. All right, so I'm going to save that and close that, and then open up the other ones in turn. So I'll just do them in alphabetic order. So in the list routine here, all right, we're going to put in something like that, except we will spell it correctly. There we go. So again, that's going to recognize that particular route. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to just copy that and go to my incident and go down to list and put that in there also. And then go to product controller and do the same thing. And finally go to the technician controller and again do the same thing. Now, all I did was just basically follow their directions in the book. All right. So if I missed something, then I missed it. I'm not going to worry about it. But like I said, that's what we were asked then to do for chapter 6. All right. So next, let's jump into chapter 7. All right. And take a look and see what that has. Improve the Razor views. For this assignment, you'll modify the Sports Pro. Yeah, as always. So what did we want to do in here? Well, we want, for lack of better words, all right, we want the navigation bar to work correctly. All right. Well, what that's going to necessitate then is us going into the layout. Highlight these, nothing happens. Just to prove that, let's run this. Oops. Let's run it. And again, you'll notice that when we do, it's basically what we want is when we highlight one of our options that's in our bar up here. Now they're all highlighted, but that's not what we want. So we're going to see if we can fix that. All right. And again, as mentioned, that will necessitate us going in and making some changes into our underscore layout.cs HTML file. So open that up. All right. And this is what we have right now. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to use that view context that we had talked about in an earlier chapter. So I'm going to bring that in. And I'm going to put this on a new line just so it doesn't run off the page. All right. So that was the first one. And that was the second one. Now, does it not like, there we go. And again, we get this thing up here again, a possible null reference. All right. And you know this already. We're going to continue to get those as we go on. All right. So we come in here, and one of the things that we're going to be asked to do in this particular exercise, just so you know, is start to look at these things that are in here. I've already removed in here, I believe, I already removed the jQuery validation stuff that was in here. We'll talk about that in just a bit. This is all okay. The links to all these style sheets and everything, that's okay. All right, so everything that's in here right now, let's see. So we got a script here with jQuery min. We've got another one with bundle here, and this is site.js, which we don't even have. All right. It might be there, but we're not using it, so it's not hurting anything. All right. The other thing I'm going to add in here is an at render, an at render section. All right. And what I'm going to say is scripts false. All right. And that's basically, we are not going to need to worry about the scripts for the extra jQuery stuff. So the jQuery validation. All right. Now, when you look in here, this is all okay. But the problem right now is what we have in here. So this is going to take a little bit of work. All right. And again, you can watch me do it. I could have done it before class. All right. Or I could just copy it in, but I'm not going to do that. All right. I will do the first one and then try to do some copying. The problem right now is every one of these says active. And that's the reason that right now, all of these are white when you bring that up. So the first thing I'm going to do is just remove that active from each one of these. All right. Now, I could run it again, but I think you all know exactly what that just did. All right. So we want to come in here, and for each one of these, we want our nav item, we want our nav link. All right. But I'm going to change around, and above this line, I'm going to add another line. All right. And that's going to be our at controller equal and equal index. All right. And then what we'll have in there is question mark active colon nothing. Right, just like that. And again, hopefully that makes sense to everybody. What it's saying is, all right, if we're on the home controller, that one will be active. Otherwise, it won't. All right, so I'm going to copy this line down and then just make changes to it. All right, so the second one will be product right here. All right, and we're not going to worry about actions for any one of these. So basically, we just have at controller equal product question mark active colon nothing, or whatever you'd want to call that. Same thing here, but of course, instead, this will be technician. All right, go down a little farther, and this one will be customer. All right, go down again, and we've got incident. All right, and next we have registration. All right, and then finally down here, this one will be more like the home one, so I'm going to grab that one. All right. So again, this one will be controller equal about. I don't know if there was an about controller. I think that should be right where it is, but the action here should be about. I think I wrote it wrong on my copy. All right. And that should, I think that's just about everything here. Oh, one more thing. Shouldn't say that. Down here, where we're in the body, this is, remember, where we may have a message. So in fact, I'll probably run out of room here. So let me put this on a new line. There we go. All right, let's run it again. Now, again, with that active off of there, none of these should be highlighted, but notice if I put my mouse on, I get, even though it's kind of light, I get the light highlighting. All right. So that was one of the things that we were supposed to be doing. So that was the navigation links. All right. Then we were supposed to convert for each, is what it said here. All right. We wanted to convert the for each loops.
Mr.
The items
Scott,
for select so that, yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
My nav links at the top are no longer working after those changes. They're just text.
All right, then let's go back. It could be where you position them.
Okay.
All right. So let's go back and
Okay.
take a look.
Yeah, if I click those, they don't actually go to the pages.
Well, we'll take it right from the beginning. You're not getting the highlighting either?
The highlighting is working, but
Well, let's see.
like my cursor turns to just the kind of line when you're scrolling over text, and then like if I click products, it's
Oh,
not
you're
there.
right. You're right. All right, I'll look at that during the break, promise, because of course you don't want that to happen. All right, but we'll get it to work. All right, so what we want to do is we want to go in and we want to make some changes. And the changes that we want to make are going to be basically to our add edit and to our list, the things that we're working on. And what that means is what we want to do here. Let's go back to this. All right. It says convert the razor for each loops that display so that they use the ASP tag helper instead. All right. So we'll take a look at that. To include an extra item for the first one, you can still include an option like the one that's shown. All right, that was a mouthful. So let me go back, and I'm not lying to you here. I don't want to keep anything from anybody, but I do have kind of my master here that I worked on. In fact, let me take a quick look, and I'm going to bring up the master here. And with that said, I'm going to bring up the layout and see if somehow I may have miscopied something, which is always a possibility. Start with that, then we'll make the other changes. So let's see. Just going to go all the way back up to the top. Values, control to string. Nothing wrong there. Again, I didn't change anything in my head section up here. All right. Jump down into here. That all looks good up through here. Well, mine, this one could be wrong on mine because I've got double quotes here and there should only be a single quote there. Right? Which means that quote, let's see, that nav item that we had right there, that might be what it is. Right here, we got class equal nav item nav link. I'm going to get rid of that. See what I just did?
Yes, so that controller, the app controller is
Yeah,
all supposed to be
that's
in the
all
bottom.
considered part of this. And that
Gotcha.
could have easily screwed it up. So let's see.
It looks better now. It's got the correct like text highlighting.
Okay. Well, and that's why, just so you know, and it's, you know, I'm not, I guess I am figuratively patting you on the back here, that I appreciate having someone in class. It's going to be interesting in spring because my first year people, I get about 5 now that come in the morning, which is great. But in the afternoon, the ones that I'm going to have, I don't think any of them are going to come. So in the afternoon, when I'm teaching the 1111 class, you know, and you know what that class is all about, and that is making that bug tracker, that's going to be, yeah, that looks like that was what it was. Thank you. But that's why I'm saying, you know, when I screw something up, I sometimes don't find out about it till like the next day when somebody's watching the tape or whatever. So, all right, so that fixed yours, correct?
Yes, I checked the
Okay,
first one that we did, and I'm just
all
making
right,
the rest of the changes now.
all righty. Okay. So these for each statements that we have are basically going to be in our, they're going to be in our add edit, and they're going to be in our list for each one of our controllers. Now, when I say for each one of our controllers, of course, they're not in there for home because we don't have that stuff for our home controller. All right. So let's see, I'm looking right here as to where I am. The big thing, so let's just go, we'll do it right from the start here, and we'll do it right in the order. And then we'd remove the jQuery library, so we can probably do both those right away. All right, so not running. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the, let's see. We'll go into the customer controller. All right. In fact, we'll go into customer in the view, and we'll look at the add edit, and we'll look at the list. So here's the add edit, and here's the list. All right, so taking that from the top then. All right, one of the first things that we want to do, we took out, or I took out, the two things for jQuery validation, because technically jQuery validation is only needed if you are either going to be A, adding a new record, or B, modifying an existing record. All right, so the first thing on that is to put that in here. And I'm just going to add it all over the place, okay? I'll write it once, and I'm going to copy it so I can just add it as I need it. So that's an add section scripts. And in here, we've got those two jQuery scripts. And you can see that the IntelliSense is picking it up. And that's the first one. That over a bit. And the other one is very similar, but it's the jQuery validate dot unobtrusive. All right, in fact, they should have .min.js. All right, so I'm just going to copy this. And for this one, I'm just going to put validate.unobtrusive.min.js. All right, it's not showing me any errors, so that should be correct. And I'm going to copy that. All right, and the reason, of course, I'm going to copy that is because I'm going to be using it in all of the other ones. All right. All right. So in fact, let's just put that stuff in first. All right. So I'm going to copy that. And I've got that right now in my add edit. I'm going to put it into my list, and I'm going to put it right after, or right up above my H1 tag for each one of these. All right, so that's it for the customer. The home, again, we don't need it. The incident has, again, both an add and a list. So I'll put it in there as well. Somehow I've already put it in here. So that's in there for both of those, and it's in here for both of, oops. So I got add edit and put it in for list. List. Okay, it's in for both of those. So let's close these to a file, save all first. All right, so we've got the customer home we don't have to worry about. We've got incident here. And again, like I said, I guess I copied it into the list ones. We also needed for product and for technician. And ideally, that makes sense, what I just explained, and that is that the only time I really need that validation on the client side is if I'm doing an ad or if I'm doing an update. All right. And like I said, excuse me, hopefully, hopefully that makes at least some sense. All right. So the next thing that we're supposed to do, and give me a second here, trying to catch up myself. All right. Is, as it says, convert these razor for eaches. Well, we know that, for instance, we have nothing, the home controller is empty, right? I mean, there's nothing in there. So we don't have to worry about doing anything really in the home controller. All right. And sorry, I'm just, okay. Let's go back over then and we'll take a look at our view files. Okay. All right. So again, it should be either in an add edit or in a list. In other words, the only time that you are doing an actual for each statement is when you are printing out or having to iterate through something. All right. And again, that should at least hopefully make sense. All right. So going through our customer here, and I'm trying to catch up with the stuff I've been working on, and for some reason, my other machine is locking up here. So give me just a second. I'm trying to fix it. There it goes. Okay. Oh, shouldn't have been that hard. Okay. So we've got here for each VAR customer and model. Let's see. I don't think we're changing a lot in here. In fact, I'm going to leave all these the way they are for now and see if we have to change it. I don't remember changing anything for that. So for now, at least, we'll just leave it the way it is. All right. And I'm going to jump into the next chapter's worth of stuff here, which is chapter 8, which, as you can see, uses temp data. So when a new product is added, it should show that message. All right. So what do we want to do here? Okay. It says in the product controller, edit the return types of the action methods so that an action that returns a view specifies view result as the return type, and ones that redirect specify redirect to action as the return type. Now, the reason that we technically didn't have to do that, all right, when you have the I action, view result is a part of that. And when you have the I action result, so is redirect to action result. But all we're actually doing here then, for lack of better words, is we're being more specific. All right. And like I said, hopefully at least this is making some sense, or at least a little bit of sense to everybody. All right. So what we want to do then is we want to go into our product controller. All right. And as it says, any action method that's in there, an action method that returns a view, okay, we want to change it to view result, and an action method that redirects, we want to specify the redirect to action. Okay, fine. So let's start by opening up the product controller. So let me close all these. So we'll start by opening up the product controller right there, and then let's take a look and see what we have. All right. So here we're returning a view, as you can see. All right. In our list. Okay. We are returning a view of products. And I think it tells us to change that to a view result. And so there's that one. Okay, and it doesn't like it. Of course it doesn't. Okay. All right. And let's see, there's no return there. There's returning another view. So I'm sure I'm going to have to go through the same thing. I know we don't want that to be a partial. It's funny, I'm looking at what I did on my master here, and I didn't change any of these. I left them all the way they were. So I believe what they're going to do later on is just to tell you to leave it the way that it was. Like I said, mine through chapter 12, I just left that as a view there. And I left this one also as a view. And they work just fine without changing them. All right, so I'm just going to leave that the way it is and leave that the way it is. All right, here we are returning a redirect to action, so that is fine. So again, in the save, change that to a redirect to action. All right. And I'm going to leave the one here as another return view and a return view and a redirect to action. So that in the save and in the delete, make sure they're a redirect to action. All right. But other than that, don't make any changes. Okay. So that was part one. And then for part two, boy, I don't know what is wrong with this machine. I apologize. All right. All right. So we will start. I'm going to go back and just review. I finally found my master copy here. So I've got here in the copy that I'm working with from the top. Okay. I've got for right here, I've got a return view products. All right. This I've got a return add edit new product. In fact, I've got product there, but I think it is a new product because we're adding. All right, I've got a return, redirect to action under the save method as mentioned. All right, so under the save, we've got a return, redirect to action here. All right, otherwise we're returning a view. And for the delete, same thing. We're returning here a view, or we're returning a redirect to action. So I believe that is totally fine just the way it is. So what else are we supposed to do in chapter 8 or not do? So in the product controller, use temp data to store a success message for each successful add, edit, or delete operation. Okay, so let's put those in. We've got an add, we've got an edit, we've got a delete. Okay, well, first thing I want to do is to come in here and let's take a look at what we have. So right now in here, the list isn't going to do anything because that's just listing. All right. So in the add that's right here, this is what we currently have in here. is just an add, and we're going to add more stuff to this later, okay? But if it did work, all right, we want to go in and we want to add the fact, again, that it was added, all right? So there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen in here. I think you know that, all right? But what I'm going to do, okay, this is the add routine right here, all right? This is the edit, and here's the save. Okay, so in the add that's right here, we've got the action for an add, and we're just returning, all right? Now, we don't have to in here, we don't have to add any kind of message, because remember, we don't have to add one in here, because again, all we're doing in there is the operations, but it's in save where we're going to have to add. All right. So inside of save here, okay, if it's 0, context.products.add, that's fine. But then we want to put in, remember, we're using that message. So message equal, we'll fix that in a minute. Message equal product name, product.name plus was added. Okay, so let's fix this. And for that to make any sense, the reason that that wasn't working, so I can put in here message, but I'm going to get an error because we never defined message. So let's come in here, and at the beginning of our save routine, let's just add a string that we're going to call message. All right, so that's going to tell us that indeed the product was added. Let's just copy this. And if it's here, we're going to say the product was updated. All right. And then finally, when we come down here and we do the delete, we will also add a line here that basically says the product was deleted. Right? And right here, you'll notice again, okay, what we have here is that it doesn't understand message. Well, that's all okay. All right. Let's go in and change this. All right. Instead of using the message in here, let's use temp data message. I use message, and I don't know why I used a local variable in there. So instead of this string message right there, let's change this to temp data message. Like that. Temp data. All right. So I'm going to use that one. I think that's what I should have done from the get-go. So it was added. It was updated. Or it was deleted. All right, let's save this. All right, and let's see if we run it, if it works, if it doesn't work, if we have any errors, etc. All right, and it's saying there's errors. It says the action directive must appear at the start of the line. Don't know how, but I got an @ sign in there, or a less than sign in there, so that should fix that. Okay, it says the action directive must appear at the start of the line. It is. Good golly. I need to get my going to take an early break. Let's just take one right now. And when we come back, things are, I promise you, are going to run much smoother. Come back at 1 o'clock, please. I apologize for this. Okay. All right, it's 1 o'clock. Let's continue on. Let me show you first. When I had this in here, I look back at my stuff. I had string message, which is okay. And then I had message here. You don't have to change yours. I'm going to change it back. And I had message here. All right. Okay. And then over here, all I did was I said temp data message equals message. Okay, which is just another way of doing the same thing. It saved me a line of code, basically. All right. And there was really, in fact, it added a line of code. There was really no reason for doing that. All right. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to change it to the way I had it here, which means, of course, I have to remove it from right here. All right. And it does work. And I'll show you that in just a second. So again, what we added in here was in the save, if it was indeed an add, we just gave a message that said the product was added. Otherwise, we know, since it worked, that it was an update. So we said the product is updated. In the same way, when we went through to do a delete, we said the product was deleted. And we did that, okay, technically, I guess you could say, the advantage of actually putting it here is, well, we've deleted it, but there actually is an advantage to putting it right here and saying, like we said, to say temp data message equal message. All right, I am going to change it back again, and I'll show you why after I change it. So we'd have to come back in here and say string message. All right, and then we'll have to go back and change these as well. So that'll have to be message, and that will have to be message as well. The advantage of doing it this way, yeah, it's more code, but the advantage of doing it that way is I'm not actually writing that temp data out until my change has been made to the database. If we do it up here, all right, if we do it up there, and if for some reason it doesn't get into the database, for lack of better words, we're giving the person running the program the wrong idea that it was added or it was updated when it may not have been added or updated. So actually this is, even though it's a little more verbose in that it's another line of code, that's actually a better way of doing it. All right. So with that said, let me stop the run here and let me save it and run it again. And first we'll just grab an existing product. And we'll edit it. I'll just put another 0 onto here and click save. And there's our tournament master 1.00 was updated. All right, I'm going to change it back again. And it's consistent. So that works. See if we can go in here and add a product. All right. And new product was added. All right, we don't want that anymore, but because we're just doing that for testing, so I'm going to delete, confirm the deletion, delete, and was deleted. Not sure why it didn't give me that in there, but so we can go back and take a quick look at that and see if I screwed that up somehow. Message equal product dot name. Oh, We never set it up. We just said message here. So this should say right there, product.name was deleted. And because we are good programmers, I'm going to save it and I'm going to run it one last time here and just verify that indeed that worked. Now I could remove something that's in here and it may or may not affect anything. So I am just going to add one. So I'm going to go into products and I'm going to add a product. And again, there it is down at the bottom. All right, edit it. No, says some new product was deleted. And it wasn't, so the message is wrong in there. Now look at that, I've got it in there twice. So let's get rid of this one and see if that message worked. Oh, it still isn't right. So we'll go back and look at it in just a second. All right. Okay, this one. So I don't even want that line. Let's see. This should be the temp data message equal message. That actually was correct. Down here, where we're doing the delete. All right. Temp message equal product.name was deleted. That did not appear to be working before, so let's try that one last time. So I'm going to add a new product here. Okay, so new product was added. That's good. And if I edit it, some new product was updated. That's good. And if I attempt to delete it, now it's saying was deleted. And my guess is, see, when we come in here, message, the product name isn't there anymore. So I may have to actually move this line up one right there. All right, because there is no product name in there. It's been deleted. So that product name isn't there. So we're only getting the was deleted part. I want to see if that fixes it. And then we'll go on. Sorry about this. All right. I think the medication I'm on is not helping me any, to be honest with you. All right. So one last time, I'm going to add a product. All right, some new product was added. Now let's attempt to delete it. Well, I don't know why that wouldn't be showing that. That name. I mean, I can come in here and do this. We can do it the same way we did it up here. And I want to see if that's going to fix it. Now, you might say, all right, who cares? And I'll tell you what, I do, because if I'm doing this for somebody, I want to make sure that I'm doing it right. And indeed, what is supposed to happen in here is indeed going to happen. So here we've got temp. Okay, we're going to set that equal to message equal product name was deleted. And then after we do the save here, then we'll say the temp data message equal message. All right, I want to see if that fixes it. And if it doesn't, for now at least, I'll just give up because I don't know why that wouldn't be showing it. I don't know. Maybe you've got an idea as to why that's not working, but I don't. I don't see anything that I'm doing wrong. I don't think it should just say was deleted. It should have the name of the product in here. All right, that's the same way that we did it up here. Message equal product.name. All right. And again, do I need to do it before the remove? I don't know. But this is what's writing it out to the database. All right. I don't think that just moving this up even one more line is going to do diddly. Yeah. Don't know why it says just that was deleted. All right. I can look at that later, but I don't want to spend any more time on it. I'm just not sure why it's not showing the name of the product. All right. Let's go on and believe we're on 8-2 here. And it says for this assignment, you'll modify Sports Pro so it uses a view model to pass data to the list manager and its edit incident pages. So we're going to use, basically, we're going to come in here and create two new view models. Okay. Now, just to show you this, because I looked at how the author did it after I did it, and I went back and changed it, I guess, just to kind of show you could. We're used to putting view models in here. And that's what I did when I created mine. But then I noticed what the author did was he went in and created a new folder that was outside of there. But, to me, it makes more sense. It is, to put it in the models folder. So I'm going to add a new folder here. That's going to be called view models. And we're going to put both of our view models in there. All right, so we'll have an incident view model and we will have an incident list view model. All right, doesn't matter which one we do first. So let's do the incident view model first. And you know this already, I've said it before that historically, when you create a view model like this, you do put the words view model on the end of it. All right. All right, so each incident, all right, this is the view model. So we're allowing all of the incident basically to go in there. All right, plus we're just grabbing out the action in here. Now, remember with incidents, the key thing is when there's an incident, what do we need? We need to know the customer that had the incident. We need to know the product that where there was an incident, and we need to know the technician who's working on it, even though a technician may not yet have been assigned. All right. So these are all going to be I enumerables. Capitalized also. Okay, so that's the first one right there. That is our incident view model. And again, you'll notice, so we can come in here and put in our question mark here, etc. Or we could just initialize these to null. I think they would do the same thing, but sometimes when I say equal null, I get weird other warnings. So let's see. Yeah, that removed it. No, I get a warning here. Cannot convert null literal to non-nullable reference type. So if it wants that, it's still going to want the question mark there. Then it goes away. So to try to fix that, I'm going to put the question mark in each one of these and say equal null. I'm still on the border as far as whether or not doing this is a good thing so that it removes all of those warnings, or I should just leave it the heck alone. All right, well, there's string action. So we can do the same thing here. And I still can say equals string dot empty. And again, we can put a question mark here as well. So that got rid of all those. All right, did we have to do that? No. All right. One thing I don't like is when you run a program and you've got 40 or 50 of these nullable type warnings that are in there. There probably is a way to run that, suppress those. But still, I try to, when I run a program, I want it to run true. And ideally, at least, I always look at warnings as that's something that could turn into an error at a later time. And that's just me. All right, so that was the first one. That is the incident view model. And we also want an incident list view model. Now, when you look at these, okay, this is the one we just did, so I did in reverse order. So this view model should store a list of customers. That was our I enumerable of customers. A list of products, which was our I enumerable of products. A list of technicians, which was our I enumerable technicians. Our current incident, which was incident, and the string that specified whether the page is for an add or an edit. All right. So again, that was, I called it action. We could have called it add or edit. It really and truly would not have mattered. So that was that one. And the other one, this view model should store a list of incidents. So we'll have an I enumerable of instances and a string that specifies the filtering for the page. Now, when you think about filtering, what do we want to possibly filter by? All right. Do we want to filter by technician? As an example, why would we want to do that? Well, you know, you might look at a certain technician and see that he or she has a lot of incidents that they're working on. What does that mean? It could mean that they're a very popular technician and they do a good job. All right, and if we look at the next technician, if they're empty, what does that mean? If that means they don't have any incidents that they're currently working on. Well, we know then that they're free, but they might not be as good of a technician. So you just never know. All right, but again, it's just a whole thing in here of data gathering that we're talking about. All right, so we've got that one. We just added that new view model right here, so let's add another one. And again, this will be incident list view model. And it's short. There's only 2 lines in it. We were told we should have some kind of a filter. And again, we can come in here and do the same thing, put in that question mark. All right. And if we want, equal string dot empty. And the other one is that IEnumerable. Of incidents. Okay. So again, we can come in here just as I showed you a second ago, and we can put a question mark here, and we can say equal null here. Right? And again, I'm, like I said, I'm still kind of on the border, on the fence, whatever you want to call it, whether or not what we just did there was a good thing or a bad thing, the right thing or the wrong thing. All right. And I've even tried to go out there and look at Microsoft's examples. And sometimes they do this and sometimes they don't. All right. Which didn't help me very much. All right. I thought of going out even to, I thought of going out to Stack Overflow and posting a question out there for that. But one thing I found was, I just closed that, didn't I? One thing I found out was the last time I went and posted something out to Stack Overflow, I was given a naughty kind of message that basically told me what I was asking was stupid. Where is this now? Let me open it. All right. So again, we just added those two view models. That's what we were supposed to do for the second part of chapter 8. All right, then moving on to chapter 9. Update incidents. It says here for this assignment, you'll add some pages that let technicians view all of their assigned and open incidents. Then the technician can edit an incident's description and specify a close date. All right. So if we go to technicians, you can tell already there's going to have to be a get in there. All right. And we can tell there's going to have to be a list in there. The get will basically allow us to search for a technician. All right. And the get will get all of the open incidents for that technician. All right. Now, in order for us to do that, of course, okay, we have to go and look into our, these are going to be technician incidents. Okay? Notice it's technician incident. Well, why am I telling you that? Because if we look in here and we look in our controllers, right now at least, I don't have a technician or incident or a tech incident controller. All right, so I'm going to have to add that. And after that, I'm going to have to make sure that in there I write a get method and I write a list method. All right. Should also have a way to go in there and edit. So I'll write an edit method in there as well. All right. And then after we do that, we'll have to go in and we'll have to add those methods. Well, we'll have to add a folder called tech incident to our views. All right. And then add the associated views. So let's start by coming in here and adding a new controller. And I'm just going to call this tech incident controller. Okay, there it is. All right. And as of right now, as you can see, we only have the index in it. So we're going to want to manipulate the database. So what do I mean? We want to put our private in here. Sports Pro context. We've been calling it context. All right. And then we have to add our constructor. and I missed something, but we're going to put it in just a second. That is, this is a property. Since it is a property, we should have a get and a set on it. And that means that we don't have a semicolon on the end. All right, so here's that. And we want to say that our context equals CTX. My hope is, if nothing else, that by now, that pretty much is second nature as far as what we're doing. So in other words, anytime that we're going to be manipulating the database in any way, we have to bring in the context so we have a way of doing it. And when I say manipulating, I mean, virtually doing anything with a database, any kind of CRUD operation. All right. Because even with a list, if it was just a list in here, we're not manipulating the database, but we are iterating through it. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I don't even know if we're going to need this. So I'm going to get rid of that. All right. And we're going to write a get that's got an HTTP get, and we're going to write a get that's got an HTTP post. All right. That should make sense because that's cycling through, and it's going to grab us the list of technicians, and it'll order that by their name. All right. There we go. All right. So what are we doing right here? Well, if we don't have an ID on that technician, okay, so maybe it's a new problem, okay, we need to create a new technician. In other words, we've got an incident that does not yet have a technician associated with it. All right. But if there already is an ID, then we have to go find out what technician is associated with that ID. Here, we're going through the list of technicians, and we're doing a where, all right, on that technician ID, and we're doing the first or default, and it only should return one. All right. But either way, we want to return view technician. So it'll either again be a new technician, all right, or not. Now I'm wondering if I don't think this will work. Yeah. I'd have to go and fidget again if we wanted to get rid of the underlines there. So, sorry. That is that one. So now let's do the post. So you'll notice my error though was gone. So this is just basically going to do the equivalent of bringing that up for us. So with what we just looked at in here, all right, you know, we're kind of going through this where we're going through, we want to get a technician. All right, now what we'll want is to actually be able to do something with this. So we'll put the post in here. I don't think the book does what I would call a stellar job of going through all this stuff when you're working with when you're working with session objects. When we do this next week, if we get that far next week, all right, we're going to slow it down quite a bit, and hopefully then it'll make a lot of sense. Again, notice what it says here. If it's 0, well, we're going to use temp data in here, and we're going to tell them you have to select a technician. All right. And we're just going to return them right back to, whoops, sorry, return them right back to where they were. Okay. Otherwise, we'll return redirect to action list. All right. New. All right. That's a little bit of a mouthful right there. So let's move this over. Okay. So did they select a technician? Whoops. Jeez, Jeff. Did they select a technician or did they not? If they did not select a technician, we give them a message telling them that, and we return them right to this get routine. Otherwise, all right, we're about to list. I think we're going to get ready to list, all right, which is what we're going to write next. Virtually all of the incidents that that technician is currently involved with. So we're going to write both a get and a post, all right, both a get and a post for the list method here. All right. So what are we doing here? Let me go back here. This was get. This should also be get. I think I wrote list here. Get. And that should be get also. I don't know. I thought of, to be honest with you, I thought of calling in, literally calling in sick today. Maybe I should have. So what I've been writing here, okay, is actually this is the list. So let me grab all of this. I apologize. I've called in sick today. This is actually correct, but it's got to go down lower than where it is. So, all right. Right now, when you look up here, we've got this HTTP get, public IAction get. All right. And everything that's in there is correct. Now, underneath that, we need a post, but for the get. I know that sounds weird, but we need a post for this get method that we are writing. And technically, since that was just a get, I guess we don't really need a post. We need now list. All right. So what we've done so far is we have come in here, and as we always do, we created a variable. So we're able to manipulate the database. We passed in the context, and now we've got an IAction result get, which is an HTTP get. Everything that's in there is correct. All right. Now we need, for the list, we need both a get and a post. All right. So let's come in here for the list. First, let's write the get. I did some of this yesterday. And like I said, I wasn't feeling very good. And the reason I'm confused here is, for whatever reason, for this list, I put the get after the post. That's what confused me. So we're going to put this in here right now. HTTP get public IAction result. And this will be list int ID. So what this is going to do basically in a second is we are going to run a query that will list all of the incidents that this technician currently has. When we do the post in just a second, all right, that's when we'll actually be doing some action or whatever you want to call that. So this is our list int ID. Now we get a chance here now to use our new model. Not a new tech incident controller, but a new tech incident view model. Okay. That's what we called it. So public IAction result list int ID. Okay. var model equal new tech incident view model. All right. Let's fix this in a second. I'm not sure what's wrong with that, but we'll fix it. All right, let's get rid of these errors here. All right, it's a get. Public iAction result list int ID. var model equal new tech incident view model. I think that's what we called it here. We have not written a tech incident view model. That's the problem. Okay, so let's go and write right now. Let's write a tech incident view model. That's why I'm getting the error here. All right, so we'll go to our view models. We will add a class in our view models. All right, and we will call this tech incident view model. There it is. It's very small. We wanted the availability of everything that's in there for a technician. All right. And everything for an incident. And an enumerable. So we want a list of all their incidents. Right. So again, just like we looked at before, if we want to, we can put a question mark here. Oops. Okay, my computer's become unplugged, so let me plug it back in just a second. Give me a second here. Okay. So again, we can put a question mark in here. And we can say if we want, again, equal null. And do the same thing here. And here. We'll just leave it like that. All right. So that is our tech incident view model. So for each technician, what we want to do is we want to have their information available to us, have the information available to us for the current incident, plus we want a list of all the incidents that that technician is currently overseeing. All right, and that is our tech incident view model. So file, save all here. Let me go back to the other one. I'm hoping my errors are gone. All right, well, there's a couple left, so let's see. Tech incident view model. Tech incident view model. Looks like it's spelled the same. I think I've saved and I shouldn't even have to. All right, so let's try this again now. It's a little better. All right. Should be technician. Okay. Equals this. Incidents equal context dot incidents. include. So what doesn't it like here? Does not contain a definition for include. Incidents. Shows it right there. Okay, we don't have a using statement in there, so that's why we had the error. Okay, so everything's working now. So here is our HTTP GET for the list routine. All right. In our tech incident view model, okay, we're telling it to find the incident. All right. I should say that again. We're telling it to find the technician by looking through and finding their IDs. Remember, we also needed the incident information in there. So that's what we're getting in here. We're going, right? And we're basically listing them out here. All right. So since we have a get for the list, we also will need a post for the list. So let me write that now, or at least attempt to. Right. This is what we had before, but I don't have it any longer in on my clipboard, so I'm just retyping it. So if they haven't chosen a technician, we just send them right back to where they started. Otherwise, we're going to redirect them to that particular technician's information. Okay, and that's it for that one. So that was the HTTP GET and the HTTP POST for our list. All right. So now that we have that, we may want to go in and edit as well. So we'll have a GET for both the edit, a GET for the edit, and a POST for the edit. All right. Move that up. All right. So that'll allow us to go in and bring up or give us the ability if we want to go in and make an edit to this. But that's the get. So if we actually want to perform that, we need the post. And mercifully, that's the end of that. Just double check. Yes. That looks correct to me. So what we have done so far is, again, we are going to attempt to be mapping an incident with a technician. So we first came in and wrote a tech incident view model. So that would give us all of the technician information, the incident information, and an enumerable, IEnumerable of all of the incidents. Then we went in and we wrote the list model that gave us even more information. And now we have just come in here and written the controller for this. All right. Controller has in it an edit, and that controller has in it a get, and that controller has in it a list. We then have to write those. And I'll tell you what, let's write the get first because it's the smallest. It's like I'm missing a curly brace here. There you go. All right. So let's write that one first because it's only about 15 lines, and then we'll take another break. I didn't think it would take this long, but I thought I would be a little more lucid than I am right now. Again, sorry about that. So save all, and I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this. I'm going to go over to my views, and I don't have a view right now, a folder called Tech Incidents. So let's make one. So let's add a new folder, Tech Incident. And up here, yeah, we called it Tech Incident. Good. All right, so that's done. And then let's come in here and let's write the first view. It'll be a razor view empty, and it'll be get.cshtml. And of course, as always, we'll get rid of the junk that's in there. And we'll start from scratch. So this one will be, like I said, about 15 lines. The list will be about 50 lines. And the edit will be about 50 lines as well. All right, so we'll do the other two after the break. Just want to look at the picture and see if we're going to make it look the way the picture looks. Okay, technician. And there'll be our drop down, and there's our button. We don't have a cancel here. It doesn't show one. So the get is doing this. All right, once we select, so it's got the drop down, and once we select, then we want to do the list. All right, so that'll be the next one that we do, but let me just, for right now, I'll just add another view. It will be list.cshtml. Again, as always, I'll get rid of the garbage that's here. All right, and like I said, this is about 40 to 50 lines, so we'll take a break. And then when we get done with that, we will write the edit. Okay, and that should be it as far as I know for this particular chapter. So it is 2:03. Let's take till 2:15, please.
Mr. Scott,
Yes, sir.
would you be able to go back to the tech incident controller really quick before we
Sure
get started?
can.
Thank
Sure
you.
can.
It's the HTTP get edit. Yeah, that one.
Still having problems, or did you figure out what it was?
No, I'm still having problems. I just the whole everything after incidents or oh, mine says incidents. There it was. That was it.
Yeah, that's what I had done at first too. Yeah.
Yep. All right, I'm good now.
You're
Thank you.
okay? Good. All right. So like I said, let's do the list. And I actually have also made an empty edit.cs HTML, so we can do that afterwards. Now, just so you know, again, we're here. All right. So we just did this. Now we're doing the list. List the incidents by technician page. All right. And then we'll have the edit. I don't think they even show anything for that. No, they do. So we can edit a particular incident. All right. So we want to be able to do all those. It's just the only reason I'm bringing this up is in chapter 10, the only thing they have you do is it says it should include 3 links styled by Bootstrap Pills, and that's up here. All right. And what I did was I combined 9 and 10 together is what I wanted to tell you. So, I mean, if it looks like I'm skipping 10, I'm not. We should have it in when we put in the rest of the stuff here. All right, so we're doing the list now. Okay, and as it says, the Get Technicians page is only displayed by the Update Incident link on the home page for the website. There's no link on it for the navigation bar. All right, the Get Technician page allows the user to select the technician name. If the user doesn't select a name, they get the error message. We already looked at that. The Incidents by Technician page displays all open incidents that have been assigned to the selected technician. Or if there are no current incidents, it displays a message saying that there are no incidents. Technician on that above, which is going to display this all over again. All right, so that should hopefully that makes at least some sense. All right, so we're writing the list right now. Now, one thing that we were told in here is we only wanted to display this if there were incidents. So we're going to do a count of the incidents. And if it's greater than 0, we'll set up a table that'll have all this stuff up. Otherwise, we're just going to have a simple paragraph that comes up and it says the selected technician has no open incidents. All right. And it wasn't picking up, so far at least, it did not appear to be picking up my IntelliSense, which is never a good thing, but I'm looking. It's at model, tech incident view model, that's correct. And in here, that wouldn't pick it up anyway. But the H1 technician at model.technician.name, all right. And let's see if it does now. So, all right. Oops. All right, that's all in the if. So the else, like I said, is real simple. We'll just put in a simple paragraph that says the selected technician has no open incidents. All right, then as we always do, we'll put a button down at the bottom. But this is that switch technician thing. All right, I'll give you a second to catch up. And then we'll write the edit, which is the biggest out of these, about 55 lines. Then we'll run it and see if it does work. Like I said, I don't like the fact that IntelliSense didn't kick in, but we'll see. Did I give you enough time to catch up?
Yes, thank you. I'm ready.
Okay. All right, so let's go. I think I did disable, but yeah, there we go. Let's go to the edit then. And in just a second, at least, this is going to be a big, it's going to be a big form. So what again, we just earlier we did that before the break, this one. Now we just did this one. All right. And again, in this case, Gunter has an open incident, but otherwise he'd have gotten that paragraph. All right. And now we're going to do the edit incident page. So as you can see, it's a simple form with all of this stuff on here. All right. And what I should have added before, I'm just going to grab it from one of the other ones. Let's see. Customer. I need this section scripts thing. Right there. Now, we're not technically doing any client-side validation. We're not calling anything from jQuery. All right. But it is important to realize that, we've talked about this back in the days of AWD1000, that before you send something off to a server, even though our same machine is being used as both client and server in our case, but before you send something off to a server, you should always validate it at the client. All right. We'll just use that edit incident. That's fine. We're going to give us a little bit of width on here. So that much. Now I'm going to actually copy this because we're going to do several in a row that are going to be similar to this. So after the technician, we'll have the customer. And that's not under, of course, model technician dot name. That'll be under model dot customer dot full name. All right. And after we do that one, we've got a product. And that'll be model dot, we got here model dot technician dot name, model dot incident dot customer dot full name dot product dot name. All right. Then we need a title, a date opened, a description, a date closed. So we don't have too much to do in here. Now, when you look at this, if you take a look, okay, what we want to be able to let the person actually go in there and edit is the description and the date closed. Every single of these were all labels. All right. Because it already has a technician assigned, it already has a customer assigned, it already has a product assigned, it already has a title, and it already has a date opened. All right. We're not editing any of those. We're only allowing the user to come in and edit these two fields right here. All right. Why? Because you might have found, first of all, it might not even have a description to begin with, or you might find out that what was in there initially for the description wasn't the actual problem. All right. Plus, after that, then we'll want to make sure that we have the ability for them to put a close date on there as well. So we've got date opened, and this is going to be the description then. And then We'll bring in the incident ID, but we'll bring that in as a hidden field. And then finally, a button and a link, style like a button. And that's everything. Again, I'll give you a second to catch up. And while we're waiting, I just want to quickly go in here and do a build and a build solution, see if I've got errors, and I'll move this in just a second. Well, it would be the same if we didn't have errors, I guess. It's telling me that tech incident view model could not be found. And that's all the errors that we have. So we'll have to look at that in a moment. Now, what I'm going to do when we get done with this, like I said, we've already, I think at least, got everything done for chapter 10. Oh, we didn't have those. We'll see if we did or not. If we didn't, I'll have to go back in and find those. All right. But we'll jump into 11. And I didn't think this would take it. I'm tired of apologizing. I'll just say it one last time. Tomorrow will be a better day. All right. So let me do a file, save all, and let's see if we can figure out why we got these errors. And these are in different files. These are not in these g.cs files. So these aren't anything we wrote. Somehow the thing got screwed up. Tech incident view model. Models, view models. Tech incident view model. Sing a directive or almost says that there's some kind of a using statement that we should be having that we don't have, which could be, let's see, once if we go look in here, we look in our view imports, we've got Sports Pro, we've got Sports Pro models. I don't know if we put in this at using Sports Pro dot models dot view models. Maybe that would give it, help it recognize it, and it doesn't look like it did diddly. Oh, it did. It's got down to these two errors. Incident does not contain a definition for incident ID. Well, then let's look at incident. Yes, it does. It's because I spelled it incident. There's that one. Okay, that's all my errors, according to this. I don't know if yours compiled cleanly or not. I hope the heck it did. And if it didn't, I'll be glad to show you anything that's in here. But I want to run it. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I do have a couple of.
Okay, and I promise we'll look at them in just a
Yeah.
second. All right. Well, can we edit this? So we'll check tomorrow. Oh, we're not printing that though. Okay. So let me go back to that one. I don't even know what it was. It doesn't matter. Let's see if we can add an incident. Select a customer, Anton Muro, select a product, Tournament Master 2.0, select the title. This does not work. The tournament Master 2.0 is not operational. Assign a technician. Jason Lee. There's an open date save. Okay, that's all working. We even have that. Okay, that's good. I want to go here to the tech incident get and see if that's working. All right. So there's an error in the tech incident controller. You look at that. It's in the get. Oh, I've checked all the code in here and all of it is correct. So why am I getting that? Giving me an invalid operation exception. Probably it's because I may need this. Using Microsoft dot ASP.NET Core dot HTTP. All right, now it's showing that is not being used in here, but I thought that was something that was necessary in there. We're not using this entity framework thing internal, so I can get rid of that. We're not using any cryptography. It's not showing this. Well, it looks like it's going to blow up again. So yeah, same spot. All right, what is your problem that you're having, Grant?
It's in the, let's see, the edit. I've just got errors under the customer and product labels. Yeah. It's saying that there's no definition for customer or product in tech incident view model.
Okay, this is edit. Post.
Oh, I think I got it. Yes, I figured it out. Thank you.
Okay. Why don't you do this then? Run it and see if you're getting the same error that I'm getting, if you would, please. So what you'll have to do is after you run it, you're on your home page, you'll have to put in there a /tech-incident/get.
Okay, it's taking its time starting up. I'll let you know when I'm there.
All righty. So in other words, we want to bring up this right here, and hopefully you'll get this. I'm not.
There we go. It's just not starting up.
All right. And like I said, when you put in that after the localhost /tech-incident/get, that's when mine came up.
Mine also breaks it.
All
The
right,
same,
right there.
same line,
Okay.
yeah.
Son of a gun. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I will work on that, but let's put in the stuff for chapter 11. All right. So at least tomorrow, and we'll get this fixed. But tomorrow, and I'll have to check. I thought I put this in already for 10, but I didn't. I don't know if I did because we can't run it. All right. Actually, what if we put in here incidents? See if that's in there or not. And under incidents, I'm going to try to put in here $filter equals unassigned. Well, when it does pop up right away, that's never a good sign. Not doing anything. It's not spinning or doing anything. All right. Oh, son of a gun. All right. Like I said, let's go in and put in the code for chapter 11. So if we look at that, improve validation for this assignment, modify the website so that it improves data validation so you can see what it's doing here. One of the things that this will necessitate is us going in and adding something to our style.css file. Let's do that first because it's a very simple change. I shouldn't even say it's a change, it's an addition. So what I'd like you to do, if you're still running it, stop the run, of course, but go in under www root and CSS and open up your site.css file. Just 3 or 4 lines we got to put in here. And then go down to the bottom of the file. And things in here. Okay, and that is I'm going to add some footer stuff. If you've already got this, of course you don't have to. I don't. This is just going to make it sticky down at the bottom. Take up the entire width. This will vertically center the text, or should. All right, now I said just those 2 or 3 lines. So if we do get an input validation error, all right, we're going to put a border. This is what they say to do in the book. 2-pixel border, solid. And the color of text danger is $DC 3545. All right. So that'll put that in. Background color will be like kind of like an antique white. Right there. So let me know when you have that done and we'll just continue on then.
I've got this. Thank you.
All right, so let's take a quick look in here and see what it says. All right, that's everything. So the drop-down list, yeah. This is what we just did. Add the custom CSS that uses a different border and background. So that should give us these colors here. There's the antique white background and there's the red border. All right, we'll do the other validation in just a second. So same as 4.3, but improved data validation for some fields on the Add Edit Customer page. Here are the data validations. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do in here is we are going to go to the our customer.cs file. All right, because I don't think there's any validation in it right now, but I'm going to check to be sure. All right. So under models, go to customer, close that, close this. Go to our customer.cs file. And like you said, there's virtually no validation that's being done now, other than our question marks or our string.empty or whatever. All right, we're told to make the first name. I guess it's required, but let's put an error message in there too. There's no, there we go. All right. Plus, we're supposed to give it a string length of 50. All right. And then we want to do the same thing for the last name. So I'm just going to copy this down. Just replace the required with this. Now you must supply a last name. And again, it's of size 50. All right. Then we have an address and a city and a state. All right. Those are all going to be the same kind of thing. And they're all 50. So I'm just going to copy these down again. Oops, wait a minute. That was address. This is city. And then this is state. All right. And then we've got postal code. For whatever reason, that's supposed to be 20. And postal code. All right. And next, nothing with, are you caught up?
Yes.
Okay. Nothing for that country, but the phone does. All right. And the phone has got a regular expression and it's pretty ugly. Now I'd like to change it, but the problem is already in the database in a certain way. It's in the database as parenthesis, area code, space, exchange, dash, and then 4 digits. Okay. So we'll put that in. Hopefully I don't screw it up. That is right after the dash. I'll check that in just a second, double check and make sure it's okay. Oh, not to param, sorry. There we go. All right, let's double check this regular expression here. I think that pattern is set up correctly. All right, I'm pretty sure it is at least. All right, and let's see. Then we've got email. And we're going to add a navigation property in here too. So let's do the email first. See, okay. All right, this might give us an error because I don't think we've written this yet, but we are going to do a remote here. So, registrations. This is all screwed up. This should say registration. Now it's giving us an error, and it's giving us an error because if you look in here, we do not have anything in here right now that is called registration. So we're going to make that next. I'm just going to registrations. Yeah, it looks like the spelling is all okay at least. And we've got our full name property, which is our read only. All right. So I'm going to come into here, back into our views, not our view, our models rather, not our view models. And I'm going to add another class. And that class will be called registration.cs, and it's pretty short. We're going to have a composite primary key, which will also kind of act as a composite foreign key, meaning we're going to use two fields here. So I'll put a comment that says composite primary key and foreign keys. All right, they're both going to be required. And I was going to say it didn't have that data annotations. That was why it was giving me the error. So. And we have two navigation properties in here as well. All right, so that is everything that goes in there. And again, just I'm trying to minimize the number that we get here. So. So that's the registration. So we have done the registration. We have done the fixing the color for our error messages. All right. And what do we have left? We have modified our customer table, or whatever you want to call it, a customer model, I should say. All right. Now we're going to have a problem right now with that email because we haven't written anything for it. Okay. What it is it's some more logic. So what we're going to do is underneath models here is we're going to add another class. Hopefully you've had time to catch up while I've rambled. So I'm going to right mouse click in here, do an add class. All right. And I'm going to call this class check.cs. All right. Not a long class, about 15 lines, 15 to 20 lines. Yes, they do. Okay, I get rid of this outside one here. Sorry. And there we go. String message. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, it is giving us an error here. It says end of file expected, which probably means I have one too many right curly braces. And I do. So we have now come in and updated the customer table or model class, whatever you want to call it. We wrote this check thing. We added a registration class and we updated our CSS file. To do, we have to come in here and we have to update our customer controller. Context, about controller. It's the all right, that's all good. All right, so in here, in our save that we have right here, we're gonna kind of we'll make quite a few changes in here. So here we're saying if customer ID, we don't want that now. Like I said, I'm going to be ripping this up a little bit in just a second. So let me move this over. All right. So that's if we didn't provide a country ID. All right. Then we're going to write another if before this. So, and in there, what we're going to be checking on new customer. So we don't want to check it on edit. We only want to check this for a new customer. So we only want to do this if the customer ID is equal to 0, is what I'm saying. All right. I'm trying to keep this or as much as I can here. So let me get rid of that. Move that out of the way. right, let me know when you have all that, and we'll just go on then.
I think I'm good. Thank you.
Then. All right. So now we want this to be in here. Else, if model state is valid, that's a 0. Add customer. Else context.customers update, that's good. Save changes, refer to list, that's good. We've got an else. Looks like we've got to make some changes here. Not too many, but a couple. So. And I don't think the deletes changed, but we'll check that in just a moment, as soon as you're caught up.
Okay, I think I'm ready.
So delete. That all looks fine. Or no, it doesn't look. Just not all paths. Not all paths return a value. So let's double check. And it looks like it's in this first if. That's got to return, but what am I missing here? I'm not missing anything. All right, after this, let's see. Well, that else has got this return. That else has got that return. So we've got a return for this if else right there. We've got a return for the else, and that's right there. So I'm looking here. There's no return for this if. And I'm looking through my code and I don't see where I put one in. All right, where we've got this if model state is valid, get rid of the else. I think that'll fix it. Yep. So again, I had that as an else in there. Don't put that in as an else. And what we're doing here basically is, again, if we don't have a country, we're just putting in our model error. All right. And if it's a new customer, all right, and the email is not okay, meaning it's already being used by someone else, we're giving another model error. All right. So then when we get down to here, if the model state is valid, if it's an add, we do a customers.add, otherwise we do a customers.update. Then, as we always do, just in one place, we save our changes and we return. If it wasn't valid, if it's a new customer, well, we're setting the view bag action to edit, otherwise to add rather, otherwise to edit, we're just returning them back so that they can fix what change they made. All right. So right now, the problem that we're both experiencing is when we run this, it does compile, which is always a good start at least, but that's all it is. And that is when you come into incidents, we've got, well, there's a couple things wrong. All right, it says the entity type registration requires a primary key be defined. All right. But if you look, we did do that in registration. Oh, there. So we've got these and they're both required. I don't think it would help. I don't know if you can do this on multiple things. If I put a key here and I put a key here, I don't know if I've ever tried that before. All right, I don't know if that would fix the error or not, so. Nope. The entity type registration has multiple properties. Yeah, well, that's the problem. Composite can be figured by putting primary key on the entity attribute class or by using has key in the on model creating. All right, it's set on the class, which doesn't make a lot of sense. All right, I will look at that too. So for tomorrow, what we have to do is we have to flush out in chapter 9 here. All right, we want the right now we're having problems. So I will go and compare mine if I have to, because I wrote this last night, but I did not test it because when I finished it was pretty late. But I got through 11 last night and then I started on 12, but I never tested it, which I should have done. So I'll check this test incident and try and we'll hopefully get all this working tomorrow. We'll jump right into chapter 12. 12 has got 12.1 and 12.2 in it. 12.1, manage registrations. We'll add some pages so that an admin user Can view the product registrations for a customer and add new registrations as well. All right, so there it'll be the and 12 will be encapsulating the data layer. There's no picture. Again, we're probably not going to do 14. All right. I will ask that you do 15.1, not today, of course, but 15.1 and 16.1. And if there are problems with that, we'll do those together at they're closer to the end of the semester. So for tomorrow, we'll start, like I said, by trying to fix that up, and we'll see if we can get as much done as possible in chapter 12. All right. I'll talk to you then. Again, sorry for the problems today, but see you tomorrow.
No problem. See you tomorrow.